In the year 1513, a Turkish admiral named Piri Reis created a map that defies everything we thought we knew about history. This map, drawn centuries before modern technology, shows the coastline of Antarctica, not as a frozen wasteland, but as a landmass free of ice. How could a 16th century cartographer possibly know what lay beneath miles of ice? A discovery that wouldn't be made until the 20th century. This is just one of the many ancient maps that shouldn't exist, yet they do, challenging our understanding of the past and raising questions that still baffle historians and scientists today. These maps, created with knowledge that seems impossible for their time, hint at lost civilizations, forgotten technologies, or perhaps even something far more mysterious. In this video, we'll explore these enigmatic artifacts, uncover the theories behind their creation, and dive into the secrets they hold about our world's hidden history. Are you ready to question everything you thought you knew? Let's begin. The Piri Reis Map is one of the most baffling artifacts in the history of cartography. Created in 1513 by Ottoman Admiral Piri Reis, this map not only depicts the coastlines of South America with remarkable precision, but also includes a detailed outline of Antarctica, a continent that wouldn't be officially discovered for another 300 years. What's even more astonishing is that the map shows Antarctica free of ice, with mountain ranges and rivers that match modern satellite imagery. How could a 16th century admiral, working with the limited tools of his time, have known about a landmass buried under miles of ice? Theories abound, ranging from the plausible to the extraordinary. Some suggest that Piri Reis had access to ancient source maps, possibly from civilizations like the Phoenicians or even the legendary Atlantis, which had knowledge far beyond what we've credited them for. Others propose that advanced seafaring cultures, now lost to history, explored the globe long before recorded history began. Skeptics argue that the map's accuracy is coincidental or exaggerated, but the level of detail is hard to dismiss. The Piri Reis Map doesn't just challenge our understanding of history, it forces us to reconsider the capabilities of ancient societies and the possibility that our timeline of human achievement might be missing critical chapters. What makes this map even more intriguing is the note Piri Reis himself left on it, claiming he used older source materials to create his work. Could these sources have been remnants of a forgotten era, a time when humanity's knowledge of the world was far more advanced than we've been led to believe? As we ponder these questions, another map emerges from the shadows of history, equally mysterious and just as impossible to explain. This one, known as the Oronteus Finius Map, takes the mystery even further, offering a glimpse into a world that shouldn't have been known to its creators. But that's a story for the next part of our journey. While the Piri Reis Map challenges our understanding of Antarctica, another enigmatic artifact shifts our focus to the other side of the globe, the Vinland Map. Discovered in the mid-20th century, this map claims to depict parts of North America, including a region labeled Vinland, long before Christopher Columbus set sail in 1492. If genuine, it would rewrite the history of exploration, suggesting that Europeans had knowledge of the New World centuries earlier than previously thought. But is it real, or is it an elaborate forgery designed to deceive? The debate has raged for decades, and the evidence is as fascinating as it is contradictory. The Vinland Map first surfaced in 1957, bound within an ancient manuscript. Its depiction of Greenland and a mysterious landmass to the west, labeled Vinland, immediately sparked intrigue. The name Vinland aligns with Norse sagas that describe Viking expeditions to North America around the year 1000, led by Leif Erikson. If the map is authentic, it would be the earliest known representation of North America, predating Columbus by nearly 500 years. But skeptics were quick to question its origins, pointing to inconsistencies in the map's materials and style. Scientific analysis has only deepened the mystery. Carbon dating of the parchment places it in the 15th century, which aligns with the map's supposed age. However, the ink used to draw the map has raised red flags. Researchers discovered traces of a titanium-based compound in the ink, a substance not commonly used until the 20th century. This finding has led many to conclude that the map is a modern forgery. Yet, others argue that the titanium could have been a natural contaminant or that the ink's composition might have been misunderstood. The debate remains unresolved, leaving the Vinland Map in a limbo between history and hoax. What makes this map so compelling is not just its potential to rewrite history, but also the questions it raises about human curiosity and ambition. If the Vinland Map is genuine, it suggests that the Norse explorers' journeys to North America were more widely known than we've been led to believe. It hints at a world where knowledge of distant lands was passed down through generations, only to be lost or suppressed over time. On the other hand, if it's a forgery, it's a testament to the lengths people will go to reshape history for their own purposes. As we grapple with the enigma of the Vinland Map, another layer of mystery emerges: maps that predate even this controversial artifact. These ancient charts, some dating back thousands of years, suggest that humanity's understanding of the world might be far older and more sophisticated than we've ever imagined. What secrets do these maps hold, and what do they reveal about the civilizations that created them? The answers might just change everything we thought we knew about our past. While the Vinland Map continues to spark debate, another mysterious artifact from the 14th century adds yet another layer to the puzzle: the Zeno Map. This chart, attributed to the Zeno brothers of Venice, claims to depict Greenland and parts of North America with a level of detail that seems almost impossible for its time. Created in the late 1300s, the map tells the story of Niccolo and Antonio Zeno, two Venetian explorers who allegedly ventured into the North Atlantic, reaching lands far beyond the known world of medieval Europe. But is their tale fact, fiction, or something in between? The Zeno Map is fascinating not just for what it shows, but for how it challenges our understanding of medieval exploration. The map includes detailed coastlines of Greenland, Iceland, and even parts of what appears to be North America, labeled as Estatiland and Drogeo. These names don't appear in any other known records from the period, adding to the map's enigmatic nature. What's more, the accuracy of the map's depiction of Greenland is striking, especially when compared to modern maps. How could the Zeno brothers or anyone in the 14th century have known about these distant lands with such precision? The story behind the map is equally intriguing. According to accounts written by a descendant of the Zeno family, the brothers embarked on a voyage to the North Atlantic where they encountered a mysterious prince named Zichmni. This figure, who some believe may have been a reference to the Scottish nobleman Henry Sinclair, supposedly guided them to these uncharted territories. While the tale reads like a medieval adventure, historians have struggled to verify its authenticity. Some argue that the Zeno brothers' journey was real, while others believe the story was embellished or even fabricated to boost the family's reputation. One of the most compelling theories about the Zeno Map is that it wasn't based on the brothers' first-hand experiences, but rather on much older source materials. Could the Zeno brothers have had access to ancient maps or charts, perhaps from Norse explorers or even earlier seafaring cultures? This idea isn't as far-fetched as it might seem. Many medieval maps were known to be copies of older originals, some of which have since been lost to time. If the Zeno Map was based on such sources, it would suggest that knowledge of these distant lands existed long before the 14th century, preserved and passed down through generations. The Zeno Map raises profound questions about the transmission of knowledge across centuries. If it was indeed based on older maps, who created those originals and how did they acquire such detailed information? Were there ancient civilizations with advanced navigational skills that we've yet to fully understand? Or could these maps be remnants of a time when humanity's understanding of the world was far more interconnected than we've been led to believe? As we ponder these questions, another possibility emerges, one that ties the Zeno Map to an even broader mystery. Could it be part of a larger tradition of map-making, where ancient knowledge was preserved and adapted over time? If so, it would suggest that some of the most enigmatic maps in history might not be standalone anomalies but pieces of a much larger puzzle. And as we'll see next, this puzzle only grows more complex when we examine maps that seem to defy not just history, but the very limits of human knowledge. Now, let's turn our attention to another map that defies explanation, the Oronteus Finaeus Map, created in 1531. This remarkable chart depicts Antarctica with a level of detail that seems almost impossible for its time. Not only does it show the continent's coastline with surprising accuracy, but it also includes features like rivers and mountain ranges, details that wouldn't be confirmed until modern satellite imagery revealed them centuries later. What makes this map so extraordinary is that Antarctica wasn't officially discovered until the 19th century, and its icy landscape has been hidden beneath glaciers for thousands of years. So, how could a map from the 16th century possibly depict a continent that was completely unknown to the world at the time? The Oronteus Finaeus Map raises questions that are as profound as they are perplexing. One of the most striking aspects of the map is its depiction of Antarctica's interior, including what appear to be river systems and mountain ranges. Modern technology has since confirmed that these features exist, buried beneath miles of ice. This level of accuracy suggests that whoever created the original source material for the map had access to knowledge far beyond what was available in the 16th century. But who could have possessed such knowledge, and how did it survive long enough to be incorporated into a map from 1531? Theories about the origins of this map range from the plausible to the extraordinary. Some researchers suggest that the map's creators relied on ancient source materials, possibly from civilizations like the Phoenicians or even earlier seafaring cultures that explored the globe long before recorded history. These civilizations, now lost to time, might have had advanced navigational skills and knowledge of distant lands that we've only recently rediscovered. Others propose even more radical ideas, such as the possibility of extraterrestrial influence or the existence of a highly advanced prehistoric society that mapped the world with technology we can't yet comprehend. Skeptics, of course, argue that the map's accuracy is coincidental, or that it might have been based on speculative geography rather than actual knowledge of Antarctica. However, the level of detail in the Oronteus Finaeus Map makes this explanation difficult to accept. The rivers and mountains depicted on the map align too closely with modern discoveries to be dismissed as mere guesswork. This leaves us with a tantalizing mystery. How did a 16th century cartographer create a map that seems to reveal secrets about a continent that wouldn't be explored for another 300 years? As we grapple with these questions, another map emerges from the shadows of history, one that challenges our understanding of the ancient world in an entirely different way. This map, known as the Buwatch Map, takes the mystery of Antarctica even further, offering clues that suggest humanity's knowledge of the planet might be far older and more sophisticated than we've ever imagined. But that's a story for the next part of our journey. The Buwatch Map, created in 1737, is another piece of the puzzle that challenges our understanding of history. Unlike other maps of its time, this one depicts Antarctica not as a single landmass but as two distinct regions, separated by a body of water. What makes this detail so astonishing is that modern geology has confirmed Antarctica is indeed divided into two major landmasses hidden beneath its icy surface. This raises a profound question. How could an 18th century map accurately depict a feature of Antarctica that wouldn't be discovered until the 20th century? The implications are staggering, suggesting that whoever created the original source material for the Buwatch Map had knowledge far beyond what was possible for their era. One of the most compelling theories about the Buwatch Map is that it was based on ancient source materials, possibly from civilizations that existed long before recorded history. Some researchers believe these sources could have come from seafaring cultures like the Phoenicians or even earlier societies that explored the globe with advanced navigational skills. If true, it would mean that humanity's understanding of the world is far older and more sophisticated than we've been led to believe. Others propose that the map's creators might have had access to knowledge passed down through generations, preserved in fragments of ancient texts or charts that have since been lost to time. The accuracy of the Buwatch Map doesn't just challenge the timeline of human exploration, it forces us to reconsider the capabilities of ancient civilizations. If these societies had the ability to map the world with such precision, what else might they have known? Could they have had technologies or methods of exploration that we've yet to uncover? The map also raises questions about how such knowledge was lost or suppressed over time. Was it simply forgotten, or was there a deliberate effort to erase these advanced understandings from history? Skeptics argue that the Buwatch Map's depiction of Antarctica could be a coincidence or the result of speculative geography. However, the level of detail in the map makes this explanation difficult to accept. The separation of Antarctica into two landmasses isn't something that could have been guessed. It's a feature that requires precise knowledge of the continent's underlying geology. This leaves us with a tantalizing mystery. How did an 18th century cartographer create a map that seems to reveal secrets about a continent that wouldn't be fully explored for another 200 years? As we delve deeper into the enigma of the Buwatch Map, another question emerges. Could this map be part of a larger tradition of ancient knowledge preserved and passed down through the ages? If so, it would suggest that some of the most mysterious maps in history aren't isolated anomalies but pieces of a much larger puzzle. And as we'll see next, this puzzle only grows more complex when we examine a map that suggests global exploration occurred far earlier than anyone ever imagined. Now, let's turn our attention to another map that seems to defy the boundaries of time and knowledge, the Haji Ahmed Map of 1559. This extraordinary chart, created by a Turkish cartographer, depicts a land bridge connecting Siberia and Alaska, a feature that wouldn't be scientifically confirmed until the 20th century. Known as the Bering Land Bridge, this ancient pathway played a crucial role in early human migration, allowing people to cross from Asia into the Americas thousands of years ago. But how could a map from the 16th century show a landmass that had been submerged for millennia? The implications are as fascinating as they are perplexing. The Haji Ahmed Map is remarkable not just for its depiction of the Bering Land Bridge, but also for its intricate details. It shows coastlines, rivers, and mountain ranges with a level of precision that seems almost impossible for its time. What's even more intriguing is that the map includes annotations in Arabic, suggesting that it was based on a combination of Islamic cartographic traditions and older, possibly ancient, source materials. Could this map be evidence of knowledge passed down through generations, preserved in fragments of forgotten texts or charts? Or does it hint at something even more extraordinary, a civilization with advanced understanding of geography long before the modern era? One of the most compelling theories about the Haji Ahmed Map is that it was based on ancient source materials, possibly from seafaring cultures that explored the globe long before recorded history. Some researchers believe these sources could have come from the Phoenicians, a civilization known for their maritime prowess, or even earlier societies that mapped the world with tools and techniques we've yet to fully understand. If true, it would mean that humanity's knowledge of the planet is far older and more sophisticated than we've been led to believe. The map also raises questions about how such knowledge was preserved and transmitted across centuries, surviving wars, natural disasters, and the passage of time. The implications of the Haji Ahmed Map go beyond cartography. They touch on the very origins of human exploration and migration. The Bering Land Bridge, as depicted on the map, was a critical pathway for early humans moving into the Americas. If the map's creators had knowledge of this land bridge, it suggests that ancient civilizations might have understood the movement of people across continents in ways that align with modern archaeological findings. This challenges the conventional narrative of human history, hinting at a world where knowledge of distant lands and ancient migrations was more widespread than we've ever imagined. Skeptics, of course, argue that the map's depiction of the Bering Land Bridge could be a coincidence or the result of speculative geography. However, the level of detail in the Haji Ahmed Map makes this explanation difficult to accept. The land bridge isn't just a vague outline, it's depicted with specific features that align with modern geological studies. This leaves us with a tantalizing question. How did a 16th century cartographer create a map that seems to reveal secrets about a landmass that had been underwater for thousands of years? As we ponder the mysteries of the Haji Ahmed Map, another possibility emerges, one that ties it to an even broader enigma. Could this map be part of a larger tradition of ancient knowledge preserved and adapted over time? If so, it would suggest that some of the most enigmatic maps in history might not be standalone anomalies but pieces of a much larger puzzle. And as we'll see next, this puzzle only grows more complex when we examine maps that seem to hint at the use of advanced technologies that shouldn't have existed in the ancient world. Theories about these mysterious maps often lead us to one compelling question. Could they be evidence of advanced ancient civilizations that have since been lost to history? Among the most famous of these proposed societies are Atlantis and Lemuria, legendary lands said to have thrived thousands of years ago, long before recorded history began. According to these theories, these civilizations might have possessed knowledge and technology far beyond what we typically attribute to ancient peoples. Could they have mapped the world with precision, leaving behind fragments of their understanding for later generations to discover? The idea of Atlantis, first mentioned by the Greek philosopher Plato, describes a highly advanced society that supposedly existed around 9,000 years before his time. Plato claimed that Atlantis was a naval power that conquered parts of Europe and Africa before sinking into the ocean in a single day and night. While many dismiss Atlantis as a myth, some researchers argue that the detailed maps we've been examining could be remnants of Atlantean knowledge preserved and passed down through the ages. Similarly, Lemuria, a hypothetical lost continent in the Indian or Pacific Ocean, is often cited as another possible source of ancient wisdom. Proponents of these theories suggest that these civilizations might have had access to advanced tools, such as sophisticated navigation systems or even aerial surveying techniques, allowing them to create maps with astonishing accuracy. But what evidence supports these claims? While there's no definitive proof of Atlantis or Lemuria, some intriguing clues have fueled speculation. For example, underwater structures like the Bimini Road in the Bahamas and the Yonaguni Monument off the coast of Japan have been proposed as potential remnants of these lost civilizations. Additionally, ancient texts and myths from cultures around the world often speak of great floods and sunken lands, which some interpret as echoes of a shared memory of these advanced societies. However, skeptics argue that these structures could be natural formations and that the myths are too vague to serve as concrete evidence. The debate continues, leaving us to wonder whether these lost civilizations are fact, fiction, or something in between. Another angle to consider is the possibility that these maps were created by ancient seafaring cultures rather than a single advanced civilization. The Phoenicians, for instance, were renowned for their maritime skills and are known to have explored far beyond the Mediterranean. Could they have ventured to Antarctica or the Americas, mapping these lands long before anyone else? Similarly, the Polynesians, who navigated vast stretches of the Pacific Ocean using only the stars and ocean currents, might have had knowledge of distant continents that has since been forgotten. These cultures, though not as technologically advanced as Atlantis or Lemuria are often portrayed, could have possessed the skills and knowledge to create detailed maps that baffle us today. As we explore these theories, it's important to remember that the truth may lie somewhere in the middle. Perhaps these maps are the result of a combination of factors: ancient seafaring cultures, fragments of lost knowledge, and even a bit of speculation or artistic license. What's clear is that they challenge our understanding of history, forcing us to reconsider the capabilities of ancient peoples and the possibility that our timeline of human achievement is incomplete. This brings us to another fascinating possibility. Could these maps be evidence of a global network of knowledge shared among ancient cultures long before the rise of modern civilization? If so, it would suggest that humanity's understanding of the world is far older and more interconnected than we've ever imagined. And as we'll see next, this idea takes on even greater significance when we examine the role of ancient seafaring cultures in shaping our understanding of the planet. The idea that ancient seafaring cultures might have mapped the world long before the age of exploration is both fascinating and plausible. Among these cultures, the Phoenicians and Minoans stand out as prime candidates. The Phoenicians, renowned for their maritime prowess, dominated Mediterranean trade routes as early as 1500 BCE. Their ships, equipped with advanced navigation tools for their time, ventured far beyond the known world, reaching as far as Britain and possibly even the Americas. Similarly, the Minoans, who thrived on the island of Crete around 2000 BCE, were skilled sailors with a deep understanding of the sea. Could these ancient mariners have been the source of the knowledge embedded in the mysterious maps we've been examining? Evidence of their capabilities is compelling. The Phoenicians, for instance, were known to navigate by the stars, using celestial markers to guide their voyages across vast stretches of open water. They also developed techniques for measuring latitude, allowing them to sail with remarkable precision. The Minoans, on the other hand, left behind intricate frescoes depicting ships and maritime scenes, suggesting a culture deeply connected to the sea. Both civilizations had the skills and motivation to explore distant lands, and it's not hard to imagine them creating detailed charts of their discoveries. But how did this knowledge survive the passage of time? One possibility is that their maps and navigational techniques were passed down through generations, preserved by later cultures like the Greeks and Romans. Ancient texts such as the works of Herodotus and Strabo mention the Phoenicians' far-reaching voyages, hinting at a tradition of exploration that may have included mapping. These accounts, combined with archaeological evidence like shipwrecks and trade goods found in distant locations, suggest that ancient seafarers had a far greater reach than we've traditionally credited them with. If so, it's possible that fragments of their knowledge were incorporated into later maps, like those of Piri Reis or Oronteus Finaeus. But what about the role of celestial navigation in all of this? The stars have long been a guide for sailors, and ancient cultures like the Polynesians used them to navigate vast stretches of the Pacific Ocean with astonishing accuracy. Could the Phoenicians and Minoans have employed similar techniques to chart their journeys? The alignment of certain ancient maps with celestial markers suggests that this might be the case. For example, some researchers have noted that the positions of key landmarks on the Piri Reis Map correspond to specific star patterns, hinting at a sophisticated understanding of astronomy. This raises an intriguing question. If ancient seafarers could navigate by the stars, could they also have used celestial observations to create maps? The answer might lie in the way these cultures viewed the heavens. For many ancient peoples, the stars were not just navigational tools, but also a way to understand the world around them. By mapping the sky, they may have also mapped the Earth, creating a celestial-terrestrial connection that allowed them to chart distant lands with surprising accuracy. This blending of astronomy and geography could explain how some ancient maps achieved a level of detail that seems impossible for their time. As we consider the role of celestial navigation in ancient mapmaking, another layer of mystery emerges. Could these maps be the result of a global network of knowledge shared among ancient cultures through trade, exploration, and storytelling? If so, it would suggest that humanity's understanding of the world is far older and more interconnected than we've ever imagined. And as we'll see next, this idea takes on even greater significance when we examine the role of ancient astronomy in shaping our understanding of the planet. The stars have always been more than just points of light in the night sky. They were the ancient world's GPS. For civilizations like the Phoenicians, Polynesians, and Minoans, celestial navigation wasn't just a skill, it was the key to unlocking the mysteries of the world. By studying the positions of stars, these seafarers could chart their course across vast oceans, reaching lands that seemed impossibly distant. But could this celestial knowledge have gone beyond navigation? Could it have been used to create the precise maps we've been examining, maps that seem to defy the limits of their time? One of the most fascinating aspects of ancient celestial navigation is how it aligns with the accuracy of certain maps. Take the Piri Reis Map, for example. Some researchers have noted that the positions of key landmarks on the map correspond to specific star patterns. This suggests that the map's creators might have used astronomical observations to plot their charts, blending the heavens with the Earth in a way that allowed them to achieve remarkable precision. It's a technique that modern cartographers might envy, and it raises the question: how did ancient civilizations develop such a sophisticated understanding of the stars? The answer might lie in the artifacts and texts they left behind. Ancient cultures like the Babylonians and Egyptians were meticulous record keepers, documenting their observations of the night sky in great detail. The Antikythera mechanism, a 2,000-year-old device discovered in a shipwreck off the coast of Greece, is a prime example. Often referred to as the world's first analog computer, this intricate device was used to predict astronomical positions and eclipses. If such technology existed in the ancient world, it's not hard to imagine that it could have been used to create detailed maps, combining celestial data with geographical knowledge. But the connection between the stars and ancient maps goes even deeper. Some researchers believe that certain landmarks on these maps, like mountain ranges or rivers, were intentionally aligned with celestial markers. This would have allowed ancient navigators to use the stars not just for direction but also for mapping the Earth itself. It's a concept that bridges the gap between astronomy and geography, suggesting that ancient civilizations saw the two as deeply interconnected. Could this explain how maps like the Oronteus Finius Map depict Antarctica with such accuracy, long before modern technology confirmed its features? As we explore these ideas, another possibility emerges, one that takes us beyond the stars and into the realm of the extraordinary. Could the advanced knowledge embedded in these maps have come from a source even more mysterious than ancient seafarers? Some theorists propose that extraterrestrial influence might have played a role in shaping humanity's understanding of the world. While this idea might sound like science fiction, it's worth considering the evidence, or lack thereof, that has fueled such speculation. From ancient texts describing sky gods to artifacts that seem to depict advanced technology, the idea of extraterrestrial involvement in ancient cartography is as intriguing as it is controversial. This brings us to a crossroads in our exploration. If ancient civilizations had access to knowledge that seems impossible for their time, where did it come from? Was it the result of centuries of observation and ingenuity, or could it have been influenced by forces beyond our understanding? As we delve into the next chapter of this mystery, we'll examine the tantalizing clues that suggest humanity's understanding of the world might have been shaped by something or someone far beyond the stars. The idea that ancient maps might have been created with the help of extraterrestrial beings is one of the most controversial and intriguing theories in the study of historical mysteries. Proponents of this theory, often referred to as ancient astronaut theorists, argue that the precision and knowledge displayed in maps like the Piri Reis or Oronteus Finaeus could only have been achieved with advanced technology that ancient civilizations simply didn't possess. Could it be possible that these maps were influenced by beings from beyond our world, sharing knowledge that would otherwise have been impossible for humans to obtain at the time? This theory is rooted in the broader ancient astronaut hypothesis, which suggests that extraterrestrial visitors interacted with early human civilizations, providing them with advanced knowledge and technology. Proponents point to ancient texts, myths, and artifacts as evidence of these interactions. For example, the Dogon people of Mali have long been cited for their detailed knowledge of the Sirius star system, which they claim was passed down by extraterrestrial visitors. Similarly, ancient Sumerian texts describe the Anunnaki, a group of deities who descended from the heavens and imparted wisdom to humanity. Could these stories be more than just myths? Could they be echoes of real encounters with advanced beings who helped shape human history, including the creation of these enigmatic maps? While the idea is undeniably captivating, it's important to note that the evidence supporting extraterrestrial involvement in ancient mapmaking is largely speculative. Skeptics argue that the precision of these maps can be explained by human ingenuity, careful observation, and the accumulation of knowledge over generations. They point to the achievements of ancient seafaring cultures like the Phoenicians and Polynesians, who demonstrated remarkable navigational skills without the need for extraterrestrial intervention. Additionally, many of the so-called proofs of ancient astronaut theories, such as the Dogon's knowledge of Sirius, have been debunked or explained through more conventional means, like cultural diffusion or misinterpretation of ancient texts. Yet, the extraterrestrial theory persists, fueled by the sheer mystery of these maps and the questions they raise. If these maps were created with the help of advanced beings, it would fundamentally challenge our understanding of human history. It would suggest that our ancestors were not alone in their journey to understand the world, that they had guidance from sources far beyond their comprehension. This idea forces us to reconsider not just the capabilities of ancient civilizations, but also the very nature of our place in the universe. Are we the product of a long, slow process of discovery, or were we given a head start by visitors from the stars? As we grapple with these questions, it's worth considering another possibility. Could the anomalies in these maps be the result of human error or misinterpretation? After all, maps are not just scientific documents, they are also works of art shaped by the beliefs, biases, and limitations of their creators. What if the so-called impossible details in these maps are simply the result of artistic license, guesswork, or the blending of myth and reality? This perspective doesn't diminish the wonder of these artifacts. Instead, it invites us to see them as products of their time, reflecting both the knowledge and the imagination of the people who made them. This brings us to an important question: how much of what we see in these ancient maps is fact, and how much is fiction? As we explore this idea further, we'll examine the role of human error and misinterpretation in shaping our understanding of these enigmatic artifacts, and how these factors might explain some of the mysteries that have puzzled us for centuries. As we continue to unravel the mysteries of these ancient maps, it's important to consider another angle: human error and misinterpretation. While the precision of these charts often seems impossible, could some of their so-called anomalies be the result of mistakes, coincidences, or even wishful thinking? After all, maps are not just scientific documents, they're also products of their time, shaped by the knowledge, beliefs, and limitations of their creators. What if some of the details we find so astonishing today were simply the result of guesswork, artistic license, or the blending of myth and reality? Take, for example, the Piri Reis Map. While its depiction of Antarctica is often hailed as evidence of advanced ancient knowledge, some researchers argue that the map's accuracy might be overstated. The coastline of South America, for instance, is remarkably detailed, but certain features, like the placement of rivers and mountains, don't align perfectly with modern geography. Could these discrepancies be the result of errors in copying older source materials or the cartographer's own assumptions about the world? Similarly, the Vinland Map's controversial depiction of North America might not be a deliberate forgery, but rather a misinterpretation of Norse sagas or other medieval texts. These possibilities remind us that maps, like any historical artifact, are subject to the imperfections of human hands and minds. Another factor to consider is the role of coincidence. Sometimes patterns or details in ancient maps might align with modern discoveries purely by chance. For instance, the Orontius Finius Map's depiction of Antarctica's interior features could be interpreted as evidence of advanced knowledge, or it could simply be a lucky guess based on speculative geography. After all, cartographers of the past often filled in gaps in their knowledge with educated assumptions, blending fact and fiction in ways that can be difficult to untangle centuries later. This doesn't diminish the wonder of these maps, but it does remind us to approach them with a critical eye. Critical thinking is essential when examining historical mysteries like these. While it's tempting to jump to extraordinary conclusions, it's equally important to consider more mundane explanations. Could the Buwatch Map's depiction of Antarctica as two landmasses be the result of a cartographer's creative interpretation rather than access to ancient knowledge? Might the Haji Ahmed Map's inclusion of the Bering Land Bridge be based on oral traditions or speculative geography rather than first-hand exploration? These questions don't negate the map's value, they simply encourage us to explore all possibilities before arriving at a conclusion. This brings us to an important point: the role of medieval scholars in preserving and interpreting ancient knowledge. During the Middle Ages, scholars in places like Baghdad, Constantinople, and Toledo worked tirelessly to translate and preserve texts from earlier civilizations, including those of the Greeks, Romans, and Persians. These efforts ensured that valuable knowledge, including geographical information, was passed down through the ages. Could some of the mysterious details in these maps be the result of medieval scholars piecing together fragments of ancient wisdom, blending them with their own understanding of the world? It's a fascinating possibility, one that highlights the interconnectedness of human knowledge across time and cultures. As we reflect on the role of human error and the preservation of ancient knowledge, another question arises: how did medieval scholars approach the task of mapping the world? What tools and techniques did they use, and how did their work shape our understanding of geography? These questions will lead us into the next chapter of our exploration, where we'll uncover the fascinating story of medieval cartography and its enduring impact on the way we see the world. Medieval scholars played a crucial role in preserving the knowledge of the ancient world, acting as bridges between the past and the future. In an era when much of the classical world's wisdom had been lost or forgotten, these dedicated individuals worked tirelessly to copy, translate, and safeguard ancient texts, including maps. Institutions like the Library of Alexandria, though tragically destroyed, had once been repositories of unparalleled knowledge, housing works from Greek, Roman, Egyptian, and Persian scholars. When the library fell, much of its treasure trove of geographical knowledge was scattered, but fragments survived, carried forward by scholars who understood the value of preserving these ancient insights. As these texts and maps were copied and recopied over centuries, errors inevitably crept in. Imagine a medieval monk hunched over a parchment by candlelight, painstakingly replicating a map from an ancient source. A single misdrawn line or misinterpreted symbol could alter the map's accuracy, leading to distortions that would ripple through history. These errors weren't always intentional. Sometimes they were the result of language barriers, faded or damaged originals, or even the personal biases of the copyist. For example, a map depicting the Mediterranean might have its islands slightly misplaced, or a river might appear where none existed. Over time, these small inaccuracies could compound, creating maps that were both fascinating and flawed. Despite these imperfections, the work of medieval scholars was invaluable. Without their efforts, much of the ancient world's knowledge might have been lost forever. Places like the House of Wisdom in Baghdad and the scriptoriums of European monasteries became centers of learning where ancient maps were preserved, studied, and sometimes improved upon. These institutions didn't just copy maps, they also synthesized knowledge from multiple sources, blending Greek, Roman, and Islamic traditions to create new works that reflected a broader understanding of the world. This cross-cultural exchange was vital, ensuring that the wisdom of the past wasn't just preserved but also expanded. The impact of these preserved maps on later exploration cannot be overstated. When European explorers set sail during the Age of Discovery, they often relied on maps that had been passed down through centuries of copying and reinterpretation. Christopher Columbus, for instance, is said to have studied maps influenced by Ptolemy's ancient works, which had been preserved and updated by medieval scholars. These maps, though imperfect, provided a foundation for understanding the world's geography, guiding explorers as they ventured into uncharted territories. In a way, the work of medieval cartographers laid the groundwork for the voyages that would reshape the world. But what does this mean for the mysterious maps we've been examining? Could the anomalies in maps like the Piri Reis or Oronteus Finaeus be the result of centuries of copying and reinterpretation? Or do they hint at something more profound, ancient knowledge that survived the passage of time, preserved by scholars who may not have fully understood what they were copying? As we delve deeper into the story of these enigmatic artifacts, we'll explore how the interplay between preservation and distortion has shaped our understanding of the world, and how it continues to challenge our assumptions about history. This brings us to the next chapter of our journey, the Age of Exploration, a time when these ancient maps, preserved and passed down through the ages, played a pivotal role in shaping the course of human history. How did these maps influence the voyages that connected continents and cultures, and what secrets might they still hold about the world we thought we knew? The Age of Exploration was a turning point in human history, a time when brave adventurers set sail into the unknown, driven by a mix of curiosity, ambition, and the promise of discovery. But what many don't realize is that these explorers often carried with them more than just courage and determination. They carried maps. Not just any maps, but charts that had been passed down through generations, some of which may have been based on ancient knowledge far older than anyone suspected. Among these were the enigmatic maps we've been examining, like the Piri Reis and Orontius Finius, which seem to contain secrets that defy their time. Could these maps have played a role in guiding the voyages of legendary figures like Christopher Columbus and Ferdinand Magellan? The answer might just reshape our understanding of history. Take Columbus, for example. When he set sail in 1492, he wasn't venturing into complete darkness. He carried with him maps influenced by the works of ancient scholars like Ptolemy, whose geographical knowledge had been preserved and updated by medieval cartographers. But what if Columbus had access to even older sources? Some researchers suggest that the Piri Reis Map, with its detailed depiction of the Americas, might have been based on charts that Columbus himself used or knew about. While there's no direct evidence to prove this, the idea is tantalizing. If true, it would mean that Columbus's discovery of the New World wasn't entirely his own. It was built on the knowledge of those who came before him, perhaps even ancient seafarers who had mapped these lands long ago. Magellan's voyage around the globe is another fascinating case. His journey, which began in 1519, was one of the most ambitious expeditions of its time. But how did he navigate the treacherous waters of the Pacific, a vast and largely uncharted ocean? Some believe that Magellan, like Columbus, may have relied on maps that contained fragments of ancient knowledge. The Zeno Map, with its depiction of Greenland and parts of North America, could have provided clues about the northern routes, while other charts might have offered insights into the southern hemisphere. If these maps were indeed based on older, more accurate sources, it would explain how explorers like Magellan were able to achieve feats that seemed almost impossible for their era. The implications of this are profound. If these ancient maps were accurate, it would mean that the age of exploration wasn't just a period of new discoveries, it was also a time of rediscovery. Explorers weren't just charting unknown territories, they were retracing the steps of ancient civilizations that had already mapped the world. This challenges the traditional narrative of human history, suggesting that our ancestors were far more connected and knowledgeable than we've been led to believe. It also raises questions about how much of our understanding of the past is based on incomplete or misinterpreted information. What if the maps we've dismissed as myths or forgeries are actually windows into a forgotten chapter of human achievement? But how do we separate fact from fiction? This is where modern technology comes into play. Advances in satellite imagery, 3D scanning, and digital analysis have given us new tools to examine these ancient maps with unprecedented precision. By comparing them to modern geographical data, researchers can identify patterns, anomalies, and details that might have been overlooked in the past. For example, the Buwatch Map's depiction of Antarctica as two landmasses has been scrutinized using modern geological surveys, revealing surprising alignments with the continent's underlying structure. Similarly, the Haji Ahmed Map's inclusion of the Bering Land Bridge has been analyzed in light of archaeological evidence, offering new insights into early human migration. As we continue to study these maps with the help of cutting-edge technology, we may uncover even more secrets about the ancient world. What if these maps are not just historical artifacts but keys to understanding a lost era of human exploration? What if they hold clues about civilizations that thrived long before recorded history, leaving behind a legacy that we're only now beginning to decipher? The answers to these questions could change everything we thought we knew about our past, and perhaps even our future. This brings us to the next chapter of our journey, the role of modern technology in unlocking the mysteries of these ancient maps. How are scientists using tools like satellite imagery and artificial intelligence to analyze these artifacts, and what new discoveries might they reveal? The answers could be closer than we think. Modern technology has revolutionized the way we study ancient maps, offering tools that allow us to peer into the past with unprecedented clarity. Satellite imagery, for instance, has become a game-changer in analyzing these enigmatic artifacts. By comparing the coastlines, mountain ranges, and other geographical features depicted on maps like the Piri Reis or Orontius Finaeus to modern satellite data, researchers can assess their accuracy in ways that were once unimaginable. What they've found is both astonishing and perplexing. For example, the Oronteus Finaeus Map's depiction of Antarctica's interior, complete with rivers and mountain ranges, aligns remarkably well with modern geological surveys. How could a map from the 16th century show details that were only confirmed in the 20th century? This level of precision raises questions about the sources of knowledge available to its creators, suggesting that ancient civilizations might have had access to information far beyond what we've traditionally credited them with. But it's not just satellite imagery that's shedding light on these mysteries. Three-dimensional mapping and digital reconstruction techniques have allowed researchers to examine ancient maps in ways that were previously impossible. By creating detailed 3D models of the landscapes depicted on these maps, scientists can identify subtle patterns and anomalies that might have been overlooked in traditional studies. For instance, the Buwatch Map's division of Antarctica into two landmasses has been scrutinized using these methods, revealing that the map's depiction aligns closely with the continent's underlying geological structure. This level of detail suggests that the map's creators had access to knowledge that seems almost impossible for their time, knowledge that modern technology is only now helping us fully appreciate. These technological advancements aren't just confirming the accuracy of certain maps, they're also challenging long-held assumptions about their origins. Take the Haji Ahmed Map, for example. Its depiction of the Bering Land Bridge, a feature that was submerged for thousands of years, has been analyzed using modern geological data. The results suggest that the map's creators might have had access to ancient knowledge about early human migration, knowledge that aligns with modern archaeological findings. This raises the possibility that these maps aren't just historical curiosities but windows into a forgotten era of human exploration and understanding. As we continue to analyze these maps with cutting-edge tools, the potential for future discoveries is immense. Artificial intelligence, for instance, is being used to identify patterns and connections in ancient maps that might have been missed by human researchers. By feeding these maps into AI algorithms, scientists can uncover hidden details or even reconstruct lost source materials. Imagine what we might learn if we could piece together the original maps that inspired the Piri Reis or Orontius Finaeus. Could they reveal even more about the ancient world's knowledge of geography, or perhaps even hint at civilizations that have been lost to time? The possibilities are as exciting as they are endless. But beyond the scientific implications, these maps hold a deeper cultural significance. They remind us that our understanding of the world is constantly evolving, shaped by the knowledge and perspectives of those who came before us. Whether they were created by ancient seafarers, medieval scholars, or even influenced by lost civilizations, these maps are more than just historical artifacts. They're testaments to humanity's enduring curiosity and ingenuity. They challenge us to rethink our assumptions about the past and inspire us to explore the mysteries that still lie hidden in the corners of our world. This brings us to the next chapter of our journey, the cultural and historical impact of these maps. How have they shaped our understanding of the world, and what do they tell us about the civilizations that created them? The answers might just change the way we see history and ourselves. These ancient maps are more than just geographical tools, they are windows into the minds and hearts of the cultures that created them. Each map tells a story not just of lands and seas, but of the beliefs, myths, and values that shaped the worldview of its creators. For many ancient civilizations, the act of mapping the world was deeply intertwined with their understanding of the cosmos, their place within it, and the stories they told to make sense of their existence. These maps were not just practical guides, they were expressions of identity, faith, and imagination. Take, for instance, the way ancient maps often blended geography with mythology. In many cultures, the edges of the known world were populated with fantastical creatures, legendary lands, and divine realms. The Hereford Mappa Mundi, a medieval map from the 13th century, is a perfect example. It doesn't just depict cities and rivers, it also includes biblical scenes, mythical beasts, and the Garden of Eden itself. For the people of that time, the world wasn't just a physical space, it was a spiritual and symbolic one, where every mountain, river, and forest carried meaning beyond its earthly form. These maps were as much about storytelling as they were about navigation, weaving together the real and the imagined in a way that reflected the culture's deepest beliefs. Religion also played a central role in shaping these maps. In many ancient societies, the act of mapping was seen as a sacred endeavor, a way of honoring the divine order of the universe. The Babylonian world map, one of the oldest known maps, depicts the world as a flat disk surrounded by a cosmic ocean, with Babylon at its center. This wasn't just a geographical statement, it was a theological one, reflecting the belief that the gods had placed their city at the heart of creation. Similarly, Islamic maps from the medieval period often oriented themselves toward Mecca, emphasizing the spiritual significance of direction in their worldview. These maps remind us that for many ancient cultures, the physical and the spiritual were inseparable, and their maps were a way of navigating both. But these maps also challenge our modern assumptions about ancient societies. They reveal a level of sophistication and interconnectedness that we often underestimate. The fact that a map like the Piri Reis could depict Antarctica with such accuracy, or that the Zeno Map could include details of Greenland and North America, suggests that ancient cultures were far more curious and capable than we've traditionally given them credit for. These maps hint at a world where knowledge was shared across vast distances, where explorers and scholars exchanged ideas and information in ways that bridged cultures and continents. They force us to rethink the narrative of human history, not as a series of isolated events, but as a tapestry of interconnected stories. Perhaps most importantly, these maps serve as time capsules, preserving the knowledge, beliefs, and aspirations of the people who made them. They are snapshots of a moment in time, capturing not just the geography of the world, but the hopes and fears of those who sought to understand it. When we look at these maps today, we're not just seeing lines and shapes, we're seeing the fingerprints of ancient minds, the echoes of their dreams and discoveries. They remind us that the act of mapping is as much about exploring the human spirit as it is about charting the physical world. This brings us to the next chapter of our journey, the idea of maps as time capsules. What can these ancient artifacts teach us about the passage of time, the evolution of knowledge, and the enduring human desire to explore and understand the world around us? The answers might just change the way we see not only the past but also the future. Maps are more than just tools for navigation. They are time capsules preserving fragments of knowledge from civilizations long gone. When we study these ancient charts, we're not just looking at lines and shapes, we're peering into the minds of the people who created them. These maps offer us glimpses into worlds that have vanished, revealing insights about how our ancestors understood their surroundings, their beliefs, and their place in the cosmos. They challenge our assumptions about history, forcing us to reconsider what we think we know about the past and the capabilities of ancient societies. Take, for example, the way these maps often blend the practical with the symbolic. A map like the Hereford Mappa Mundi doesn't just show cities and rivers, It also includes biblical scenes, mythical creatures, and even the Garden of Eden. For the medieval mind, the world wasn't just a physical space, it was a spiritual one, where every landmark carried deeper meaning. These maps remind us that ancient cultures saw the world through a lens that was as much about faith and storytelling as it was about geography. They challenge us to think beyond the literal and consider the symbolic layers that shaped their worldview. But these maps also serve as records of lost knowledge. The Piri Reis Map, with its depiction of Antarctica, or the Buwatch Map, showing the continent as two landmasses, hint at a level of understanding that seems impossible for their time. Could these maps be remnants of a forgotten era, when civilizations possessed knowledge that has since been lost? If so, they offer us a rare opportunity to piece together fragments of that lost wisdom, giving us a clearer picture of humanity's journey through time. They remind us that history is not a straight line but a mosaic, filled with gaps and mysteries waiting to be uncovered. Preserving and studying these artifacts is more than an academic exercise. It's a way of honoring the ingenuity and curiosity of those who came before us. Every map is a testament to the human desire to explore, to understand, and to leave a mark on the world. By safeguarding these treasures, we ensure that future generations can continue to learn from them, drawing inspiration and insight from the past. But this raises an important question. How do we approach the study of these maps ethically? What responsibilities do we have when dealing with artifacts that might hold secrets about cultures and civilizations that are no longer here to speak for themselves? This brings us to the ethical implications of studying ancient maps. As we delve into their mysteries, we must consider the impact of our discoveries on the cultures and communities connected to these artifacts. Are we respecting the legacy of the people who created them, or are we imposing our own interpretations and biases? These questions remind us that the study of history is not just about uncovering facts, it's about understanding the human stories behind them. And as we explore these stories, we're reminded that the past is not just a collection of dates and events. It's a living, breathing narrative that continues to shape who we are today. This leads us to the next chapter of our journey, the ethical dilemmas and responsibilities that come with studying ancient maps. How do we balance the pursuit of knowledge with respect for the cultures that created these artifacts? The answers might just change the way we approach history and ourselves. As we delve deeper into the mysteries of ancient maps, it's crucial to pause and consider the ethical implications of studying these artifacts. These maps are more than just historical curiosities, they are cultural treasures, often tied to the identities and histories of the civilizations that created them. When we analyze them, we're not just interpreting lines and symbols, we're engaging with the legacy of people who lived centuries or even millennia ago. This raises important questions. How do we ensure that our study of these maps respects the cultures they represent? And what responsibilities do we have when interpreting artifacts that might challenge or rewrite established historical narratives? One of the most pressing ethical concerns is the risk of cultural appropriation. Ancient maps often contain symbols, names, and depictions that are deeply meaningful to the cultures that produced them. When these elements are taken out of context or misinterpreted, it can lead to a distortion of their original significance. For example, a map created by an indigenous culture might include sacred landmarks or spiritual symbols. If these are analyzed without understanding their cultural context, we risk reducing them to mere curiosities, stripping them of their deeper meaning. This not only disrespects the culture that created the map, but also perpetuates a one-sided narrative that prioritizes Western interpretations over indigenous knowledge. Another ethical challenge is the potential for historical revisionism. Ancient maps, with their tantalizing hints of lost knowledge, can sometimes be used to support alternative or fringe theories about history. While it's important to remain open to new ideas, we must also be cautious about how these maps are interpreted. For instance, claims that maps like the Piri Reis or Orontius Finius prove the existence of advanced ancient civilizations or extraterrestrial influence can overshadow the more nuanced and evidence-based explanations. This not only distorts the historical record but can also undermine the credibility of legitimate research. The line between exploration and exploitation can be thin, and it's essential to approach these maps with both curiosity and critical thinking. At the same time, the study of ancient maps offers an opportunity to amplify voices that have been marginalized or erased from history. Many of these maps were created by cultures that have since been colonized or suppressed. By carefully and respectfully analyzing these artifacts, we can help reclaim and preserve their stories. For example, maps created by indigenous peoples often reflect a deep connection to the land, offering insights into their worldview and way of life. By centering these perspectives, we can challenge the dominant narratives of history and create a more inclusive understanding of the past. But how do we balance these ethical considerations with the pursuit of knowledge? One approach is to involve the descendants of the cultures that created these maps in their study and interpretation. Collaborative research, where scholars work alongside indigenous communities or cultural representatives, can ensure that the maps are analyzed in a way that respects their origins and significance. This not only enriches our understanding of the artifacts, but also fosters a more equitable and respectful approach to historical research. As we navigate these ethical complexities, it's worth reflecting on the broader implications of studying ancient maps. These artifacts have the power to reshape our understanding of history, but they also carry the weight of cultural and historical responsibility. How we choose to engage with them says as much about us as it does about the civilizations that created them. And as we continue to explore these mysteries, we must remain mindful of the stories we tell and the voices we include in the telling. This brings us to another layer of the puzzle, the role of conspiracy theories in the study of ancient maps. While these theories often capture the public's imagination, they also raise important questions about how we interpret evidence and construct narratives. What happens when the line between fact and fiction becomes blurred, and how do we separate compelling speculation from verifiable truth? The answers might just change the way we approach not only these maps, but the very nature of historical inquiry. Conspiracy theories have long been intertwined with the mysteries of ancient maps, capturing the public's imagination and sparking endless debates. From claims of extraterrestrial influence to the existence of advanced prehistoric civilizations, these theories often present tantalizing narratives that seem to explain the unexplainable. But while they can be entertaining and thought-provoking, they also carry significant risks. Misinformation, when presented as fact, can distort our understanding of history, overshadowing the meticulous work of researchers and archaeologists who rely on evidence-based methods. The allure of a sensational story can sometimes overshadow the more nuanced and often equally fascinating truths that lie beneath the surface. One of the dangers of conspiracy theories is their tendency to cherry-pick evidence while ignoring context. For example, the Piri Reis Map's depiction of Antarctica is often cited as proof of ancient advanced knowledge or even extraterrestrial intervention. While the map's accuracy is undeniably intriguing, conspiracy theories often gloss over the possibility that its creators might have relied on older, now lost source materials or even speculative geography. By focusing only on the most sensational aspects, these theories can create a distorted view of history, one that prioritizes mystery over understanding. This not only undermines the credibility of legitimate research, but also risks erasing the achievements of the very cultures these maps represent. Yet, it's important to acknowledge that conspiracy theories aren't without value. In some cases, they can inspire genuine curiosity and encourage people to question established narratives. The idea that ancient civilizations might have possessed knowledge or technology beyond what we've traditionally credited them with has led to new avenues of research and exploration. For instance, the study of ancient seafaring cultures like the Phoenicians and Polynesians has been reinvigorated by questions raised about their potential global reach. In this way, even the most far-fetched theories can serve as a catalyst for deeper inquiry, pushing us to re-examine the evidence with fresh eyes. The challenge lies in striking a balance between open-mindedness and critical thinking. While it's important to remain curious and explore alternative explanations, it's equally crucial to ground our investigations in verifiable evidence. This is where academia plays a vital role. Scholars and researchers bring rigor to the study of ancient maps using tools like carbon dating, satellite imagery, and comparative analysis to separate fact from fiction. Their work ensures that the stories we tell about these artifacts are rooted in reality, even as they leave room for the mysteries that still remain. Academia's role in this debate is not just about debunking myths. It's also about fostering a deeper appreciation for the complexity of history. By examining ancient maps through a multidisciplinary lens combining archaeology, geography, and cultural studies, researchers can uncover layers of meaning that go beyond the surface. These maps are not just records of geography, they are reflections of the societies that created them, offering insights into their beliefs, values, and ways of understanding the world. In this sense, the study of ancient maps becomes a dialogue between the past and the present, one that enriches our understanding of both. As we navigate the intersection of conspiracy theories and academic research, it's worth reflecting on how we approach historical mysteries. Do we seek answers that confirm our preconceptions, or are we willing to embrace the uncertainty and complexity of the past? The stories we tell about ancient maps, whether grounded in evidence or shaped by speculation, reveal as much about us as they do about the civilizations that created them. And as we continue to explore these enigmatic artifacts, we're reminded that history is not just a collection of facts. It's a living, evolving narrative that invites us to question, to wonder, and to learn. This brings us to the next chapter of our journey, the role of academia in shaping our understanding of ancient maps. How do scholars approach these artifacts, and what can their methods teach us about the past and ourselves? The answers might just change the way we see not only these maps, but the very nature of historical inquiry. Academia has long been at the forefront of unraveling the mysteries of ancient maps, balancing skepticism with open-minded inquiry. Scholars approach these artifacts with a mix of fascination and caution, recognizing their potential to rewrite history while also acknowledging the need for rigorous evidence. The study of maps like the Piri Reis or Oronteus Finaeus often sparks heated debates, as their anomalies challenge established historical narratives. How do we reconcile these maps with what we think we know about the past? The answer lies in a careful, interdisciplinary approach that combines archaeology, geography, history, and even astronomy to piece together the puzzle. One of the biggest challenges academia faces is the lack of definitive evidence. Ancient maps are often fragmentary, their origins shrouded in mystery. Without clear documentation or corroborating artifacts, it's easy for interpretations to veer into speculation. For example, while the Piri Reis Map's depiction of Antarctica is undeniably intriguing, scholars must consider whether its accuracy is the result of ancient knowledge, coincidence, or even artistic license. This uncertainty doesn't diminish the map's value. It simply reminds us to approach it with a critical eye, weighing all possibilities before drawing conclusions. Interdisciplinary research has become essential in this field. By combining insights from different disciplines, scholars can uncover layers of meaning that might otherwise go unnoticed. For instance, geographers can analyze the accuracy of a map's coastlines, while historians can trace its cultural and historical context. Archaeologists might look for physical evidence of the civilizations that created these maps, and astronomers can explore the role of celestial navigation in their creation. This collaborative approach not only enriches our understanding of these artifacts, but also highlights the interconnectedness of human knowledge across time and cultures. Yet, even with these tools, the debate over ancient maps remains contentious. Some scholars argue that these maps are evidence of advanced ancient civilizations or even lost technologies, while others maintain that their anomalies can be explained through more conventional means, such as medieval copying errors or speculative geography. This tension between skepticism and open-mindedness is at the heart of academic inquiry, pushing researchers to question assumptions and explore new possibilities. It's a reminder that history is not a static collection of facts but a dynamic field that evolves with each new discovery. What makes these maps so compelling beyond their historical significance is what they reveal about human curiosity. They are more than just tools for navigation. They are symbols of our enduring desire to explore, to understand, and to make sense of the world around us. Whether created by ancient seafarers, medieval scholars, or lost civilizations, these maps remind us that the act of mapping is as much about the journey as it is about the destination. They challenge us to look beyond the surface and consider the stories, beliefs, and aspirations of the people who made them. This brings us to the next chapter of our exploration, the idea of maps as symbols of human curiosity. How do these artifacts reflect our innate drive to explore the unknown, and what can they teach us about the timeless quest for knowledge? The answers might just inspire us to see the world and ourselves in a whole new way. Ancient maps are more than just tools for navigation. They are profound symbols of humanity's unquenchable curiosity and relentless drive to explore the unknown. Each map, whether it's the enigmatic Piri Reis or the speculative Zeno Map, tells a story not just of lands and seas, but of the human spirit's yearning to push boundaries and uncover the mysteries of the world. These artifacts remind us that the act of mapping is as much about the journey as it is about the destination. They capture the hopes, dreams, and fears of the people who created them, offering us a glimpse into the minds of those who dared to imagine what lay beyond the horizon. Consider the impact these maps had on the explorers who followed. When Christopher Columbus set sail in 1492, he carried with him not just the practical charts of his time, but also the legacy of ancient cartographers who had dared to dream of distant lands. The same can be said for Ferdinand Magellan, whose circumnavigation of the globe was fueled by the tantalizing hints of uncharted territories found in maps like the Zeno. These explorers were inspired by the possibility that the world was far larger and more interconnected than anyone had imagined. In this way, ancient maps didn't just guide voyages, they ignited the imaginations of generations, encouraging them to venture into the unknown and expand the boundaries of human knowledge. But the influence of these maps extends beyond the age of exploration. They continue to inspire modern thinkers, scientists, and adventurers. Today, as we explore the depths of the ocean, the vastness of space, and the complexities of our own planet, we carry forward the same spirit of curiosity that drove the creators of these ancient charts. Maps like the Oronteus Finaeus or the Buwatch Map challenge us to question what we think we know and to remain open to the possibility that there is always more to discover. They remind us that the pursuit of knowledge is a never-ending journey, one that requires both courage and humility. As we look to the future, the study of ancient maps holds incredible promise. Advances in technology, from satellite imagery to artificial intelligence, are giving us new tools to analyze these artifacts with unprecedented precision. Imagine what we might uncover if we could reconstruct the lost source materials that inspired maps like the Piri Reis or the Haji Ahmed. Could we piece together fragments of ancient knowledge that have been lost to time? Could we uncover evidence of civilizations or technologies that challenge our understanding of history? The possibilities are as exciting as they are endless. But the future of ancient map research isn't just about uncovering new facts, it's about fostering a deeper connection to our shared human heritage. These maps are more than historical artifacts. They are bridges between the past and the present, reminding us of the enduring power of curiosity and exploration. As we continue to study them, we're not just learning about the world as it was, we're also gaining insights into who we are and who we might become, and that perhaps is the greatest mystery of all. This brings us to the next chapter of our journey, the future of ancient map research. How will new technologies and discoveries shape our understanding of these enigmatic artifacts, and what secrets might they still hold? The answers could change the way we see not only the past, but also the future of exploration itself. The future of ancient map research holds incredible promise as new technologies and methodologies continue to push the boundaries of what we can uncover. Imagine the possibilities. With advancements in satellite imagery, 3D scanning, and artificial intelligence, we're now able to analyze these enigmatic artifacts with a level of precision that was once unimaginable. These tools allow us to peer into the past like never before, revealing details that might have been overlooked for centuries. For instance, AI algorithms can sift through vast amounts of data, identifying patterns or connections in ancient maps that human researchers might miss. Could these technologies help us reconstruct lost source materials, or even uncover entirely new maps hidden in archives or private collections? The potential for discovery is limitless. But it's not just about the tools, it's also about the questions we ask. As we continue to study these maps, we're learning to approach them with fresh perspectives, blending insights from archaeology, geography, and even climate science. For example, by comparing ancient maps to modern geological data, we can better understand how landscapes have changed over time. This could shed light on how ancient civilizations perceived their environment and adapted to shifting conditions. It's a reminder that these maps are more than just historical artifacts, they're living documents that connect us to the past in profound and unexpected ways. Preserving these treasures for future generations is another critical aspect of this work. Many ancient maps are fragile, they're delicate parchment or vellum susceptible to damage from light, humidity, and time. Digitization efforts are helping to safeguard these artifacts, creating high-resolution copies that can be studied without risking harm to the originals. But preservation goes beyond just physical care. It's also about ensuring that the stories and knowledge embedded in these maps are passed down. By documenting and sharing their significance, we keep the legacy of their creators alive, inspiring future generations to continue the quest for understanding. As we look ahead, it's clear that the study of ancient maps is far from over. Each new discovery has the potential to rewrite our understanding of history, challenging us to rethink what we thought we knew. These maps remind us that the world is full of mysteries waiting to be uncovered, and that the pursuit of knowledge is a journey without end. They invite us to explore not just the past, but also the future, as we continue to push the boundaries of what's possible. This brings us to the heart of our exploration, the enduring allure of these ancient maps. From the Piri Reis Map's depiction of Antarctica to the Zeno Map's mysterious lands, these artifacts have captivated us with their secrets and sparked countless debates. They challenge us to question our assumptions, to remain open to new possibilities, and to embrace the unknown. As we close this chapter, let's reflect on the key insights we've uncovered, the remarkable accuracy of these maps, the tantalizing hints of lost knowledge, and the profound questions they raise about humanity's past and future. Now, as we prepare to delve into the final part of our journey, let's consider how these ancient maps continue to shape our understanding of the world. What lessons can we take from them, and how might they inspire us to explore the uncharted territories of our own time? The answers might just change the way we see not only the past but also the path ahead. As we near the end of our journey through the mysteries of ancient maps, it's worth taking a moment to reflect on what we've uncovered. These remarkable artifacts, whether it's the Piri Reis Map's uncanny depiction of Antarctica, the Vinland Map's controversial claim of pre-Columbian exploration, or the Buwatch Map's startlingly accurate division of Antarctica into two landmasses, challenge everything we thought we knew about history. They hint at a world where ancient civilizations might have possessed knowledge and skills far beyond what we've traditionally credited them with. How did they achieve such precision? Were they drawing from lost source materials, or did they have access to technologies or insights that have since vanished from the historical record? These questions linger, inviting us to rethink the timeline of human achievement. What makes these maps so fascinating isn't just their accuracy, it's the stories they tell about the people who created them. Each map is a snapshot of a moment in time, capturing not only geographical knowledge but also the beliefs, ambitions, and fears of its creators. The Zeno Map, for instance, blends fact with legend, weaving tales of Venetian explorers and mysterious princes into its depiction of the North Atlantic. The Haji Ahmed Map, with its depiction of the Bering Land Bridge, offers a glimpse into ancient migration routes that shaped the course of human history. These maps remind us that history is not just a collection of dates and events. It's a living, breathing narrative shaped by the people who lived it. But the implications of these maps go beyond their historical significance. They inspire us to question the boundaries of what we think is possible. If ancient civilizations could map the world with such precision, what else might they have known? Could there be other lost chapters of human history waiting to be uncovered? These maps challenge us to remain curious, to keep exploring, and to embrace the unknown. They remind us that the pursuit of knowledge is a never-ending journey, one that requires both skepticism and open-mindedness. As we wrap up this exploration, it's clear that these ancient maps are more than just artifacts. They are invitations to wonder. They encourage us to look beyond the surface, to question our assumptions, and to consider the possibility that our understanding of the past is still evolving. Whether they were created by ancient seafarers, medieval scholars, or even influenced by lost civilizations, these maps are testaments to humanity's enduring curiosity and ingenuity. They remind us that the world is full of mysteries waiting to be uncovered, and that the stories we tell about the past are as much about who we are as they are about who came before us. This brings us to the final chapter of our journey, the broader significance of these mysteries. What do these maps teach us about the human spirit, and how can they inspire us to explore the uncharted territories of our own time? The answers might just change the way we see not only the past but also the future. As we reach the end of our journey through the enigmatic world of ancient maps, one thing becomes abundantly clear. These artifacts are far more than just pieces of parchment or vellum. They are windows into the past, offering glimpses of civilizations, knowledge, and stories that continue to captivate our imagination. From the Piri Reis Map's startling depiction of Antarctica to the Zeno Map's mysterious lands, these charts challenge us to rethink what we know about history and the capabilities of those who came before us. They remind us that the world is full of mysteries waiting to be uncovered, and that the pursuit of knowledge is a journey without end. What makes these maps so enduringly fascinating is their ability to spark curiosity and wonder. They don't just show us where we've been, they invite us to imagine what might have been. Could there have been advanced civilizations lost to time, their knowledge preserved in fragments like these maps? Or were ancient explorers far more skilled and daring than we've given them credit for? these questions don't have easy answers, and perhaps that's the point. The allure of these maps lies in their ability to keep us guessing, to remind us that history is not a closed book but an ongoing conversation. At the heart of this exploration is the importance of questioning established narratives. History, as we know it, is often shaped by the perspectives and biases of those who record it. But maps like these challenge us to look beyond the surface, to consider the possibility that our understanding of the past is incomplete. They encourage us to remain open to new ideas, to embrace the unknown, and to recognize that the world is far more complex and interconnected than we might think. In a way, these maps are not just about the past, they're about how we approach the future, with curiosity, humility, and a willingness to explore. As we close this chapter, let's leave you with a thought to ponder. The past is never dead. It's not even past. These words from William Faulkner remind us that history is not a distant, static thing. It's alive, shaping who we are and who we might become. The mysteries of ancient maps are a testament to this truth, inviting us to explore, question, and imagine. What other secrets might be hidden in the folds of time, waiting to be discovered? The answer lies in our willingness to keep searching. If you've enjoyed this journey through the mysteries of ancient maps, don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments below. What theories or ideas stood out to you? And if you're hungry for more explorations into the unknown, be sure to subscribe and join us as we continue to uncover the hidden stories of our world. After all, the greatest mysteries are often the ones that inspire us to keep looking and to never stop wondering.